3:30 in the morning. You wake up with that weird feeling in your chest, like something's trying to tell you something, but you can't quite hear it. What's scariest? Maybe your soul has been trying to reach you this whole time, but you've had your phone on silent. Because there is a direct line, there's always been a direct line, between you and that wisdom residing deep within who you truly are. The question isn't whether it exists. The question is, why can't you hear it? Today you're going to discover something that could change everything. It's not about meditation. It's not about complex spirituality. It's about a protocol, a specific, measurable protocol. How to learn the language your soul has always known how to speak. But there's a problem. And this problem explains why most people make decisions that seem right in their heads, but break their hearts later. I'll tell you what I discovered when I finally learned the difference between hearing my anxiety, pretending to be wisdom, and hearing my soul. Have you ever had that moment when you needed to make an important decision and spent hours trying to think it through? You weighed the pros and cons, asked everyone you knew, Googled it, and in the end, you chose what seemed most logical, what made the most sense, what everyone expected. Then, a few months later, you look back and think, how could I have been so stupid? Because it wasn't stupidity. It was something far worse. You were talking to the wrong person. Imagine your soul is like a radio station that's always been on the air, broadcasting on a specific frequency, but you've spent your whole life trying to tune in with a television antenna. Of course, you were only going to get static. Your analytical mind? It's great for some things. Calculating change at the supermarket, remembering where you left your keys, solving technical problems at work, but for decisions that really matter. To know which path to take, to understand what will truly make you happy. Your mind is like a broken GPS. It takes you everywhere but where you need to go, because it operates on fear, on what others will think, on what seems safest, on what avoids confrontation. Your soul operates differently. It operates on truth. And there's a way to access this truth that's so simple it seems absurd, so straightforward it seems impossible, but it works the first time you try it. It's spiritual automatic writing. Wait, before you think this is some crazy esoteric thing, let me explain what it really is. There's nothing supernatural about it, there's no channeling. There's no otherworldly entity dictating a message. It's just you, your soul, and a direct conversation. You know when you're writing a difficult email and suddenly a perfect sentence comes out, one you don't know where it came from? That captures exactly what you wanted to say, but in a way your conscious mind could never have formulated. That's your soul speaking through your hand. Spiritual automatic writing is just that, but on purpose. It's you creating a clean channel for that wisdom that's already inside you. And the most incredible thing, it answers specific questions like, should I accept that job offer? How do I resolve that conflict with my mother? What's the next step in my life? And the answer comes clear, direct, no fluff. But there are rules. There's a protocol. Because if you do it wrong, you'll end up talking to your anxiety again. And anxiety gives terrible advice. The first rule is about the state. You can't be desperate. You can't be panicking. You can't be in a rush. Because when you're desperate, your soul goes silent, and the voice that leads you to ruin takes over. So the first step is to create what I call a receptive state. It's not deep meditation. It's not transcendence. It's just you, calm or present, open to hearing something different from what you already know. Some people achieve this by taking a long bath. Some people achieve it by walking in nature. Some people achieve it just by taking 5 deep breaths. The important thing is to get out of that, I need to solve this now state and into the, I'm curious to know what my wisdom has to say state. Feel the difference. In the first, you already have the answer in your head and you just want confirmation. In the second, you're truly open to discovering something new. When you achieve this state, grab a pen and paper. Yes, pen and paper. Not your phone, not your computer, pen and paper. Because there's something about the physical connection between your hand and the paper that makes this conversation flow better. It's as if the soul prefers this analog channel. Then comes the part that seems simple, but it's where most people make mistakes. You write your question, very specific. Nothing like, what should I do with my life? That's a question for Google, not for your soul. Their specific question would be, Will accepting this promotion make me happier or more stressed? Is ending this relationship now the best thing for both of us? What's the first thing I need to change to feel better about myself? A question that has a clear answer. After writing the question, you pause, breathe, and then write the first thing that comes to mind, without thinking, without editing, without judging whether it makes sense or not. Just write. And keep writing until you feel the answer is complete. Seems too simple? It's because it is simple. But simple doesn't mean easy, because the difficulty isn't in the technique. The difficulty is in trusting. Trusting that that first sentence that appeared in your head wasn't your mind making it up. Trusting that you truly have access to a higher wisdom. Trusting that this wisdom wants to help you, not deceive you. And here's the secret that nobody tells you. Your soul never lies to you, never. It may give you answers you don't want to hear. It may show you truths you've been avoiding. It may ask you to do things that seem difficult, but it never lies. How do you distinguish when it's your soul answering and when it's your disguised anxiety? The soul speaks with love, even when the truth hurts, even when the answer is no, even when it asks you to change something you don't want to change. Anxiety speaks with fear, with urgency, with drama, with what-ifs. But what-ifs? You have to. The soul speaks like a wise mother, firm when necessary, loving always, direct without being cruel. Anxiety speaks like a desperate salesman, pushing, pressing, creating urgency where there doesn't need to be. And there's another way to know. The soul's answers always leave you with a strange feeling, as if you already knew that, but had forgotten, as if it were just reminding you of something that's always been there. Anxiety's answers leave you more confused, more agitated, with more questions than answers. But here's what really changes everything. When you start practicing this direct line, something interesting happens. You stop needing to ask so much, because a channel that was filled with static becomes crystal clear. And when it's crystal clearer, you hear the guidance before you even need to ask. It's like your soul is a GPS that finally connected with the satellite, and now it can warn you. Caution, sharp turn ahead. Before you even think about speeding up, you begin to feel when a situation isn't for you before you get involved. You start noticing when someone isn't being sincere before you believe their story. You begin to know which path to take before getting lost at the crossroads. This isn't paranormal. This is just you functioning the way you were always meant to function, with direct access to your own inner wisdom. But let me warn you, when you open this channel for real, your life changes. And it changes fast because you stop accepting what doesn't serve you. You stop staying in places that don't make sense. You stop relating to people who drain your energy. You stop making choices based on what others expect from you. And this scares some people around you, because when you're connected to your truth, you become harder to manipulate, harder to convince to accept scraps, harder to make believe you don't deserve what you truly want. Some people won't like your newfound clarity. Some will try to convince you that you're changing too much. Some will prefer you confused and dependent on external validation. But here's the thing. You're not here to make life easier for those who want to see you small. You're here to live your life, the real life, the one that makes sense for who you truly are. And your soul knows exactly how to get there. It always has. It was just waiting for you to learn the right language to talk to it. Now, before I continue and show you the complete protocol step by step to establish this communication definitively, I need to tell you something I discovered about the people who really manage to keep this channel open. There's a subtle but crucial difference between those who practice this once and those who turn it into a way of life. And this difference determines whether you'll have sporadic access to your inner wisdom or if you'll live with constant clarity. That's what we're going to talk about now. There's a door in your consciousness that most people push their entire lives. Push, 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 and it never opens. Know why? Because it said pull on the other side. The people who live with constant clarity discovered a simple thing. They don't try to force the connection. They create the conditions for the connection to happen naturally. It's like the difference between someone forcing a door and someone learning to open it with the right key. And the key is simpler than you imagine. It's consistency. Not schedule consistency, not location consistency, consistency of intention. Every time you sit down to talk to your soul, you have to arrive with the same energy, genuine curiosity, not desperation, not haste, not please, Tell me what to do because I can't take it anymore. Curiosity. As if you were going to meet a wise friend who always has incredible advice, but only speaks when he feels you really want to listen. And here's the complete protocol. The step-by-step that works every time, without exception. First, choose a time when you're not in a hurry. It doesn't have to be the same time every day, but it needs to be a time when you can stay there as long as necessary. Second, leave any environment that makes you agitated. If your desk is full of piles of paper, it's not there. If there's a TV on in the living room, it's not there. If people are talking next door, it's not there. Find a place that feels like a safe haven for you. It could be your bedroom, it could be a park, it could be inside your car parked in a quiet place. The important thing is that it's a place where you feel you can let your guard down. Third, get pen and paper, but not just any paper, paper you like. A nice notebook, a pen that writes nicely. It may seem frivolous, but it's not. It's a signal to your subconscious mind that this conversation is important, that you're taking it seriously. Fourth, breathe, slowly, 3 times. It's not to enter a trance. It's just to get out of that emergency mode that we live in all day. It's to get into the state of, I'm here, I'm present, I'm open. Fifth, write the date at the top of the page. This is important because you'll want to go back and reread these conversations later, and you'll be impressed with the wisdom that came from your own hand. Sixth, write your question. Specific, concrete. That has a clear answer. Instead of how to be happy, write what do I need to stop doing to feel better about myself. Instead of what's my purpose, write what would be the first step to feeling more useful in the world. Instead of should I end the relationship, write if I were to be 100% honest with myself, what do I really feel for this person? A question that goes straight to the point. Seventh, stop writing, close your eyes, and ask a silent question, as if you were really talking to someone. What do you have to tell me about this? Eighth, open your eyes and write the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it seems silly, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's just one word. Write, and keep writing until you feel it's over. How will you know it's over? You'll know. It's like when you finish saying a sentence. You feel you've reached the period. Ninth, reread what you wrote, but reread as if someone else had written it, with curiosity, without judgment, and observe what kind of energy is in those words. If there's energy of love, even if the message is hard, it's probably your soul speaking. If there's energy of fear, urgency, or punishment, your anxiety probably managed to infiltrate the conversation. 10th, if you feel the answer is not complete, ask a follow-up question, like, what do you mean by that? Or, how do I do this in practice? And repeat the process. But here's the secret that transforms this from an occasional technique into a way of life. You have to trust the answers you receive. I'm not talking about blind faith. I'm talking about testing, experimenting, seeing if it works. Because if your soul told you to have a difficult conversation with someone and you don't, you cut the channel. If she told you to stop doing something that hurts you and you keep doing it, you're cutting the line, not as punishment, but because you're sending a message. Thanks for the opinion, but I'll keep doing it my way. And your soul respects that. It falls silent and lets you learn the hard way. The problem is, learning the hard way without guidance hurts a lot more and takes a lot longer. So when your soul gives you guidance, even if it's difficult, even if you don't fully understand, try it, experiment, give it a chance, and see what happens. Most of the time, you'll discover she was right, and that following the guidance, even if it's tough at first, led you to a much better place than you imagined. This builds trust, and trust opens the channel even wider. Then you enter a virtuous cycle. More trust, more clarity, better decisions, better life, more trust. And suddenly, you realize you're no longer living in the dark, feeling your way around, trying to guess which direction is right. You're living with an internal GPS that always knows the way. But there's something I need to warn you about, and it's important you understand this before you begin. Your soul won't give you advice to impress others. It won't help you get things you want out of ego. It won't teach you how to manipulate situations to come out on top. It will guide you to your truth, to your authenticity, to what truly serves your growth and your inner peace. Sometimes this means saying no to opportunities that everyone would find amazing. Sometimes it means choosing the harder path because it's the most honest. Sometimes it means disappointing people you don't want to disappoint. But always, always, it leads you where you need to be to become who you truly are. And here's one of the most beautiful things about this direct line of communication. Your soul never gives you more than you can handle. It won't ask you to drop everything and become a monk in Tibet if you have a family to support. It won't tell you to end all your relationships at once if you don't have the emotional structure for it yet. It works with you where you are, with the conditions you have, with the limitations you carry, but always gently pushing you towards the next version of who you can become. It's like having a personal trainer of consciousness who knows your limits, respects your pace, but never lets you get comfortable. And something happens when you keep this practice up for a while. You stop feeling alone in difficult decisions because you know you always have someone to talk to, someone who knows you better than anyone in the world, someone who genuinely wants your well-being. That someone is yourself, the wisest version of yourself. Now, I'll tell you about the 3 types of responses your soul might give you and how to interpret each one. First, a direct response. Yes, take the job. No, it's not time to move. No. Talk to him tomorrow. These are easy to understand and easy to follow. When your soul is being direct, it's because the situation is clear and you just need confirmation. Second, a symbolic response. Instead of direct words comes an image, a metaphor, a story. For example, you ask about a relationship, and the answer that comes is, a bird in a gilded cage is still a captive bird. Or you ask about your career, and it comes, you're watering a plant that won't bloom in this soil. These answers require a little more interpretation, but they're usually pretty clear when you stop to feel what they mean. Third, a response that seems like no response. You ask a specific question, and the answer that comes is something like, that's not the right question, or you already know the answer. These are the moments when your soul is showing you that you're complicating something simple or avoiding a truth you already know. When this happens, rephrase the question or simply write, so what is the right question, and see what comes. And here's something interesting. As the more you practice, the more the answers come in the form of feeling, not just words. You ask if you should accept an invitation, and before you even write anything, your body gives you the answer. A tightening in your stomach that says no. A feeling of expansion in your chest that says yes. This is your soul speaking through your body. It's an even more direct level of communication, because your body never lies. It may be conditioned by old fears, but in the present moment, it always knows what's good for you and what's not. Learn to listen to these bodily signals along with the words that come in writing, and you'll have a nearly foolproof guidance system. But there's one last point I need to address, and it might be the most important. This communication with your soul isn't about having answers to everything. It's about developing discernment. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally makes choices aligned with their truth, who naturally avoids situations that don't serve, who naturally attracts experiences that contribute to their growth. It's about no longer needing to ask, what do I do? Because you've developed an internal compass so finely tuned that you always know which direction to take. And when you reach that point, something magical happens. Your life stops being a series of problems you need to solve and becomes a dance you know how to dance. You stop fighting against the current and learn to navigate with it. You stop forcing doors and learn to recognize the ones that are open to you. This doesn't mean life gets easy. It means it becomes fluid. It means you stop wasting energy fighting reality and start using all that energy to create the life you really want to live. And it all starts with a simple conversation. You, a pen, a paper, and the courage to ask, what do you have to tell me? Your soul has been waiting a long time to answer that question. It's always been there, always known the answers, always wanted to help you. It was just waiting for you to learn to ask the right question, in the right way, at the right time. That time is now. That door you've been trying to push open your whole life, it's been unlocked the whole time. You just needed to pull. But let me tell you something I discovered after years of practicing this, something no one told me at the beginning that would have saved me a lot of confusing time. Your soul has different voices depending on what you need to hear. Sometimes it speaks like an understanding friend, sometimes like a firm mentor, Sometimes your soul acts like a caring mother who needs to give you a gentle nudge, a little reality check. And learning to recognize these different tones is key to fully understanding what it's trying to communicate. When you're going through a tough time, feeling lost, hurt, your soul speaks with a soft voice, a comforting voice, like someone who hugs you and says, "I know it hurts, but you'll get through this." The answers come laden with compassion, patience, unconditional love. Like, "Rest now, you don't need to solve everything today. You are stronger than you think, but even the strong need to recharge." Or, "This pain you're feeling is your heart opening to something bigger. Let it teach you what you need to learn." But when you're being lazy, sabotaging yourself, shirking your responsibilities, the soul changes its tone. It becomes more direct, more incisive, not cruel, never cruel, but firm. You know exactly what you need to do to stop making excuses or "Enough drama, get up and do what needs to be done." Or, "You're creating the very problem you're complaining about." And then there's the voice of the soul when you're ready to take a bigger step in life, when you're prepared to evolve, to expand, to step outside your comfort zone. This voice is exciting, inspiring, full of possibilities. It's time. You know it's time. Trust. Take that leap. I'll support you. You came here for much more than this. It's time to remember who you really are. Recognizing which voice is speaking helps you understand not only what to do, but also where you are in your journey. And here's something fascinating. The soul never gives you guidance about other people's lives. If you ask, "Does so-and-so like me? Why did such and such do that? How do I get this and that to change?" The answers you receive are either vague or direct you back to yourself, because your soul isn't here to invade anyone's free will. It's here to guide you on your journey. So, when you have conflicts with other people, instead of asking about them, ask about yourself. Instead of, "Why is my boss so difficult?" ask, "What do I need to learn from this situation?" Or, "How can I handle this more wisely?" Instead of, "Will he come back?" ask, "What's best for me right now?" Or, "What do I need to heal within myself to attract healthier relationships?" The answers that come are far more useful and far more empowering, because instead of leaving you dependent on external variables you can't control, they put you in charge of your own experience. And there's an advanced technique that works when you're facing really complex decisions. Decisions that don't have an obvious yes or no answer. It's what I call exploratory conversations. Instead of asking a direct question, you write, "Help me understand this situation," or "Show me what I'm not seeing." And then you let your soul guide you on a deeper exploration of the subject. It's as if it were an invisible detective, showing you clues you hadn't noticed. Notice how you feel physically when you think about this possibility. Remember the last time you ignored this kind of intuition? What happened? Look at the patterns. Does this remind you of anything from your history? These exploratory conversations are incredible for decisions about careers, serious relationships, big life changes, because they give you context. They help you see the bigger picture. They show you connections that your logical mind alone would never make. And here's something else that happens when you develop this communication. Your soul starts warning you about things before they happen. It's not future prediction. It's refined intuition. You start to feel when a situation is going to go wrong before it does, when a person isn't being sincere, before you find out, when an opportunity isn't what it seems before you commit. It's as if your soul is an emotional radar system that detects energies before they fully manifest. Be careful with this proposal, something isn't being said. This person isn't in a healthy emotional place right now. Keep your distance until they sort themselves out. Go slow on this investment. It's not the right timing. And the most impressive part, most of the time you discover later that the intuition was right, which develops a deep trust in this inner guidance. But there are obstacles that appear along the way, and it's important for you to know what they are so you don't get discouraged when they arise. The first obstacle is doubt, especially in the beginning. You write an answer and you keep thinking, did I make this up? Is it just my imagination trying to convince me of something? This doubt is normal, it's even healthy, because it shows that you're not being naive. The way to deal with it is not by fighting against it, it's by testing it. Take the guidance you receive and try following it. See what happens. See if it leads you to a good place or a bad place. After a few experiences where you follow the guidance and things go well, the doubt naturally diminishes. The second obstacle is receiving guidance you don't want to hear. Your soul tells you to have a difficult conversation you're avoiding, to leave a comfortable situation that isn't making you grow, to make changes that seem risky. The temptation is to dismiss this guidance as not being from the true soul because it's inconvenient. But it's usually these inconvenient guidances that help you the most, because your soul isn't interested in keeping you comfortable, it's interested in helping you grow. The third obstacle is the interference of anxiety, especially when you're stressed, in a hurry, or desperate for an answer. In these moments, your anxious mind can disguise itself as your soul and give terrible advice. How to distinguish? Anxiety always creates urgency where it doesn't need to be. It always speaks in terms of catastrophe. It always pushes you to make quick decisions based on fear. The soul is calm. Even when it asks you to act, it does so with serenity, not with panic. When you realize you're receiving guidance full of fear and urgency, stop, breathe, come back another day when you're more centered. The fourth obstacle is wanting to use this communication to control outcomes, like asking, if I do X, will Y happen? Your soul doesn't work like a prediction machine. It guides you based on what's best for your growth in the present moment. The future depends on thousands of variables, including the choices of other people. Your soul guides you to do your part in the best possible way, but it doesn't guarantee specific results. The fifth hurdle is comparing your communication with your soul to that of other people. So-and-so receives much clearer guidance than I do. Someone else has visions. I only have words. Another person can converse for hours. I can only manage a few paragraphs. Each person has their own style of communication with their soul. There's no right or wrong way. There's your way. Some people are more visual, others more auditory, others more kinesthetic. Some receive entire books of guidance. Others receive simple yet profound phrases. The important thing isn't the form, it's the authenticity. And here's something that changes everything. When you stop trying to control how the communication should be and simply open yourself to how it naturally happens for you, it becomes much more fluid. It's like learning to dance. At first you're worried about the right steps, then you relax and let your body move with the music. Now there are specific situations where this communication with the soul is especially powerful, and it's worth knowing what they are. First situation, when you're at a crossroads in life, big decisions, important changes, moments where a single choice will define the course of things. In these moments, instead of endlessly chewing over the pros and cons, talk to your soul. It has a perspective that goes beyond the obvious advantages and disadvantages. Second situation, when you're feeling lost, without direction, like you're navigating without a compass. Your soul always knows where you are on your journey and what the next step is. Even if you don't see the whole path, it can show you the next turn. Third situation, when you're facing fears, especially those fears that paralyze you and prevent you from moving forward. Your soul can help you distinguish between real fears that deserve attention and fanciful fears that only limit you. Is this fear intuition or anxiety? Is this risk worth it? How can I be courageous and prudent at the same time? Fourth situation, when you're dealing with complicated relationships, conflicts, resentments, decisions about who to keep close and who to let go. Your soul helps you see these situations with more clarity and less emotional drama. What did this person come to teach me? How can I contribute to resolving this constructively? Is it time to distance myself or to draw closer? Fifth situation, when you're making decisions that affect other people, especially family, children, people who depend on you. Your soul can balance your personal needs with your responsibilities without you having to choose between being selfish or self-effacing. How can I take care of myself and still be present for those who need me? What's the difference between helping and enabling? How can I teach by example? And there's a beautiful thing that happens when you practice this for a while. You begin to recognize the voice of the soul in other people too. Not that you'll hear their souls directly, but you develop a sensitivity to recognize when someone is speaking from a place of wisdom versus when they're speaking from the place of ego or fear. This helps you choose better who to receive advice from. to pay more attention to guidance that comes from people connected with their own truth, and it helps you offer your own advice from a wiser place too, because when you're used to talking to your soul, you naturally speak more from it. Your words carry more weight, more authenticity, more love. People feel this. Even if they can't explain what it is, they sense that there's something different about the way you express yourself. And here's one of the most transformative things about maintaining this constant communication. You stop needing external approval to validate your decisions, because you have an internal source of validation that is far more reliable than any external opinion. You can listen to advice from other people with an open mind, without feeling obligated to follow it. You can consider different perspectives without losing your own clarity. This frees you from one of the most subtle prisons of adulthood, the need for consensus to feel secure in your choices. Your soul has already given you the consensus you need. Its consensus, which is the only one that truly matters for your life. And this doesn't make you arrogant or closed to feedback. In fact, it makes you more open, because when you're not desperate for approval, you can hear constructive criticism without feeling attacked. You can consider different perspectives without feeling threatened. You can change your mind when it makes sense, without feeling defeated. Now, there's an even deeper level of this communication that happens when you practice for a long time. It's when you no longer need to sit down to write questions because your soul is always online in your consciousness. It's as if there's a permanently open channel, a direct line always available. You're in a work meeting and suddenly you know exactly what to say. You're in an argument with someone, and suddenly you understand perfectly what the real issue is behind the conflict. You're facing an important decision and suddenly the answer becomes obvious. It's not that you hear voices in your head, it's that you develop such refined intuition that navigating life becomes like driving on a familiar road. You know when to accelerate, when to brake, when to change lanes, almost automatically. But until you reach that point, the formal practice of writing is essential. It's like learning an instrument. You need to practice scales before improvising jazz. Writing teaches you to distinguish between the different voices in your head. It helps you develop confidence in the guidance you receive. It gives you a history of successes to consult when doubt sets in. And there's something I need to tell you about the times when it seems like your soul isn't responding. Sometimes you sit down, ask the question, and nothing comes, or only confusion comes, or the answers seem too generic. This doesn't mean you've lost the connection. It means that either you're not in the right state to receive, or the question you're asking isn't the right question at that moment. When this happens, instead of forcing it, ask, "What do I need to know now?" Or, "What is preventing this communication?" Sometimes the answer is simply, "Rest, not everything needs to be resolved today." Other times it's, "You already know the answer. Stop looking for external confirmation for something your heart has already decided." And sometimes it's, "Live the question for a while, as the answer will come when you're ready for it." Your soul respects your timing. She never gives you more than you can handle in the moment, so when it feels like she's silent, it might be exactly what you need. A space to digest what you've already received, to integrate the previous guidance before receiving the next. And here's something that shifted my perspective on all of this. This communication with the soul isn't about having a perfect life without problems. It's about having an authentic life where you navigate the inevitable challenges with more wisdom, more grace, more alignment with who you truly are. The challenges don't disappear, but you stop creating unnecessary challenges. You stop complicating the simple. You stop tilting at windmills. Your energy becomes available for what really matters instead of being wasted on self-created dramas. And ultimately, perhaps this is the greatest gift of this communication. It reconnects you with your own inner wisdom. In a culture that teaches you to distrust yourself, to always seek external validation, to believe that other people know more about your life than you do, discovering that you have direct access to the wisdom that has always been inside you is revolutionary. It's remembering that you didn't arrive here unarmed, that you're not a lost victim in the universe, that there's a higher intelligence operating through you, and you can learn to consciously cooperate with it. This intelligence brought you this far. It knows the way forward too. You just need to learn to listen. And now you know how.